Welcome to the Daily Dev Talk with me, Adrian Nantchev, where we explore and share experiences, stories, and lessons 7 days a week from across the games industry, helping you make the best game you can. Stay tuned for today's episode. Good morning, Overload Nation. Welcome to another episode of the Daily Dev Talk, talking to game developers from across the world to bring you experiences, stories, and lessons 7 days a week. Today, I'm joined with Christine Chong from Alto B Game Studio to talk about her latest game, E-Depth Angel, Pinocchios Murder. Christine, let's start with talking about yourself.
Thank you. I have been a freelancer and a webcomic artist since like my second year, first and second year of college. And now I'm a freelancer for multiple clients, and some are private. And other there are Kickstarter clients, and there are also a studio client in California's Animation Libation Studios.
So you've been in the industry and you got a whole variety of different experiences.
Yeah, I do a lot of stuff from web comics, like comics, animation and game development and books illustration, all sorts.
I see. So what led you to work onto Pinocchio's Murder?
Pinocchio's Murder is original. It's based on one of my running webcomic series, E-Type's Angel, and basically it's something that I want to do to tell my story more in a way that the comic media cannot cover. So, like, because as a game, you can tell certain detail of the stories that a that would be too lengthy and too too wordy for the comic to cover. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so, how long roughly you have been in the games industry? You said you've been a freelance 2 years, was it? You say, and that
Uh,
was
no, I have been freelancer for about five, five,
5 years.
5 years. Yeah, five. Yeah.
Aha, very nice. So, tell us a little about the game and what you wanted the player to experience at the beginning.
Eden's Angel is a mystery romance otome game. And the main heroine, Angel, she is kind of playing the unlikely detective because she looks really cute and young, and most people don't see her as a detective material. So, but what she's trying to do is she's trying to solve her friend's family mystery, where to determine how her friend's family, her, um, their mothers died, and they actually have multiple moms in this family. So it's kind of an unusual family to begin with. And for the beginning of the game, what I want the players to experience, strictly speaking, this is a visual novel. And most of the visual novel experience is that you kind of just click through the screen, everything is really still, it's like a storybook. But I wanted the characters to feel more alive, as if like they are animated. So we worked on a lot of the expressions. We try to make the expression transition feel smooth, and we also try to make the screen feel alive. So like we shake the screen, we do blinks and all that kind of stuff. So it feels more we will later on put in more sound effects and stuff to make it feel more engaging. Like Phoenix Wright, what they did, they really make the screen feel alive. They make it like really look like the character's view and their emotions. You can feel the emotions from the screen, and that's what I want to achieve with this game.
Yeah, I think you went a little beyond just having a plot and two characters just talking.
Yeah.
You actually had the camera or sound effects and
Hmm.
variations in the emotions,
Yes.
which really stood out as opposed to traditional graphics, and also some other more graphic novel games, other games out there as well.
Yeah, that's something. I mean, I'm an animator, so I want things to feel
Oh,
alive. Yeah.
yes, exactly. Don't forget those 12 principles.
Yes.
So tell me, how did you go about promoting the game?
Um, the game itself has, because I personally like Phoenix Wright series, so we try to link ourselves to that series as well. And there is a mystery solving category inside this game. And I do realize that in terms of novel category, it's like romance and mystery are the two most popular genres. So we try to kind of target that audience as well.
Ah, so you niched it. You kept niching until it hurt.
Yeah.
Ah, cool. Did you not approach any journalists at all, or
Mm,
anything of the sort like that to get the game out there?
we did approach a lot of we did have journalists blog us, and
Mm.
then we also approached other Kickstarter people, or like we all do cross-platform sharing and plugging and stuff. And then also some indie game developers helped us out, and webcomic there's some webcomic creators also helped retweeting and stuff like that. Yeah.
How did the collaborations work with the other indie studios, as you said? How did that work exactly?
Oh, collaboration wise, we offer like our talents to help out if they need help. And we, of course, we do cross-platform promotion for each other. And we also will exchange hours, as in like I do you a favor, you do me a favor back, and
I
we
get
trade
you.
skills. Yeah.
All right, I get you. Very clever, very innovative.
Thank you.
I'm curious, what was cut from the game and why?
I do have to cut some story content from the game because of budget reasons, and also, of course, I wanted to do some animated sequence for the game. That's
Hmm.
also cut currently because of well, animation is actually the most expensive thing to make. The game itself is not as bad. Yeah.
Was it not a case of that it wouldn't have been fun, or would have been
Mm.
not with the pacing, or not quite
Well,
in the image you had of the for the final product?
mostly in terms of like originally I kind of want to do some animated clips for the game, but there is the animation itself is a really time consuming and expensive medium because it's just, you kind of each drawings you have to make it perfect and they have to move. And then you
Hmm.
have sound, the sound have to sound perfect, everything have to be mastered and sync. It's more complicated than dealing with like a cheap MP3 sound in the game.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand. And was it like if you had kept the things that you removed in the game, would it have been too big? You
It
feel?
would be too big. Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. It's our first game and we don't exactly operate on high budget, so we have to make it so that it's workable for our financial situation.
That's beautiful to know, Christine. Workable for the financial situation, and if you just get something out there, a minimal viable product and a
Hmm.
game in general, audience will love it or hate it as it is. And in the next project, it can be even bigger and better.
Uh, we will operate based on the budget we get. We have to be more realistic about this. The studio members got bills to pay and all that stuff, so we just do it. We are hoping to increase gradually because in the past fundraising, we only have raised about 1,000, and this time we raised about 6,000. We're hoping to push further and further up so we can eventually roll out bigger projects. Yeah.
And that's how it gets bigger and bigger
Mm-hmm.
over time.
Yeah, we'll just snowball it slowly.
Exactly, exactly. So, speaking of which, I'm curious, what was the biggest thing you learned while working on the game?
Just trying to stay in budget while your brain keep flying off with new ideas.
Oh wow. Okay,
That's always tough to balance. I'm thankful for my friends Elise and Roxanne helping me to stay on budget. It's like, hey, this is getting too much. This is not going to work. We have to rethink this.
oh wow, yeah, I get you. Reeling in your imagination.
Yes.
So it's great to have it all.
Yeah, it was really tense trying to figure out how to make both sides meet. Yeah.
And yeah, it's very important as well because otherwise, if the budget and the legal side isn't working, no matter how big the game is, the business and the
Stuff are
studio and the
being
game,
lost. Yeah.
exactly, it's problems.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, problems.
Yeah.
So speaking, so so what was the worst thing that happened, and how did you overcome it?
The worst thing that happened is how do I say? It's like I guess the it's not exactly the worst, but more like a toughest in a most intense moment is trying to is definitely trying to match what's the creative desire versus the financial situation that we have. And in terms of different opinions of the members, some of us feel like, oh, I'm willing to gamble, and other ones feel like we should stay safe. And as a leader, I have to try to find a middle ground to satisfy both. And that
And
was
how exactly
how
and how exactly did you find that middle ground?
I find that middle ground as in like, okay, we would just we just take part of the ideas instead of all of the ideas from the creative side and try to merge whatever we can into this manageable size material and to satisfy mostly the financial requirements. Yes.
So it's essentially trying to keep everyone happy all the time.
It's tough. Yeah. I'm, I like to find middle ground.
That's good. Yeah, I get what you mean. That's good. So it's as safest as possible.
hmm
What was the best game development purchase you made? Whether it was a software, or a top quality piece of hardware or equipment, or simply a comfortable chair and a good desk.
Uh, thankfully the engine we're using is free. It's an open source. It's RAMP, and we do have to do a lot of customization to it. But what I think the best deal that I got is my cousin got me a really good deal on the Master Suit Collection and After Effects, um,
Oh, I see.
which he
Uh-huh.
got with his employee discount at the moment. At that time, which I'm still using it now, and the rest is I am happy with my Manga Studio purchase, which is I used quite a lot for this game.
What is that? What is that exactly?
Manga Studio is in Japan it's called Clip Studio. It's quite like it's like a simpler version of no wait, it's not the same. It's like Pen to Side married Photoshop and added a lot of manga tones and other manga making tools like comic making tools. It's kind of a comic. It's like a comic making tool, but it also can do illustration and paints. Yeah,
Oh, I see. And the tools in that are specifically for manga, or is that just the name?
it's just the name. Yeah,
Okay.
it's
And
called Clip Studio in Japan. It's different.
oh, interesting. Does it not support any form of like 2D animation, or is it just purely illustration?
Manga Studio right now is purely illustration, but I use Photoshop files. Manga Studio handle Photoshop files, and I use Photoshop file in After Effects to animate it.
Wow, that's very innovative, all over the place. And do you have a game developer related book, lecture, or learning resource that you can recommend?
I will admit that I haven't really gone into game development books we or lectures. We use mostly online development community forums, discussions on the similar subjects, blogs for
Hmm.
research, and because we think that those are the people who are doing projects for real, and they are also similar to our size, so it's a better reference. And it's immediate. We can just Google and find them, and we know which form to go as well. So the best stories came from the community. And
Do you have do you have any forums that you can remember that really stood out that was very helpful?
well, we constantly visit the RAMP forums. We go there to look at the codes people have posted and we ask questions there, and we also try to get feedback there as well. Yeah.
What was the name of that forum?
Uh, it's, it's on the it's on the Rampy website. They have it's called rampy.org. It's
Mm-hmm.
how you spell it is RENPY.org. Yeah,
ORG. Okay. renpy.org.
yeah. It's the where our engine comes from. It's an open source Python
That's
engine.
cool. That's worth checking out, I think, and seeing what It's worth checking out Overload Nation to see what useful stuff there is over there.
Yep.
And like an Evernote or a Trello, do you have a useful or productivity enhancing software, app, extension, or website worth sharing?
We are currently share using Asana, and Asana is something good for task assignments, and we are going to integrate it with Slack. Slack kind of helps to with the chat and history log, and we can search it, and also we can integrate Asana into that. And it's light on the phone, so a lot of people like myself, I like to use phone app to keep
Mm.
track of things. Yeah.
And Asana, Asana.
Yes.
Ah, sounds familiar. And this is all in the attempt to keep productivity on schedule and the game on schedule and nothing delayed. That's the
We
whole idea behind this.
Yes, and I do have an assistant, Elise, helping me out on giving reminders, keeping people in check. Then I realized I
Hmm.
really do need help on that department, so we got a production assistant position just for that.
Oh, I get you. I get you. That's pretty cool. So, what advice can you give to aspiring game developers, small indie studios, and people trying to get to where you are today?
I think the advice I'm still using right now is what I heard from Fred the Redder channel. He came into my college, and he came to my college School of Visual Arts as a guest speaker, and then he started drawing these three circles on the whiteboard, explaining something like this: as that you as a creator, this is this one circle on the side, and then there's this big circle, your audience, and then there's another circle, this is called the investors. Wherever your interests overlay for all three circles, that's where your profit really is. So I try to think of what I can do to overlap my interests with the audience interest and with the investors' interest when I plan for my projects. Of course, not every project is going to be fitting into that one little spot where all three overlaps. So that's something I keep thinking about, and I think it will be helpful to others.
Oh, that explains a lot, and I agree. That is pretty different, pretty radical, pretty innovative in its own way. I like that.
Hmm.
And what I find that when it comes to investors is that unless the investor has a personal and emotional stake in the business or the company, then his investment is only going to really be is skin deep.
Yeah.
If he loves the product and the people behind it and what's going off, then
Hmm.
that investor will be with you through thick and thin.
Yep. What I find out is in the recent market, most of the audience are turning into investors themselves. So, of course, there is a difference between an actual investor, angel investor, versus an other audience investor. Audience behave more like consumers. They want to get the product out of it, even though they're willing to pay for a little more as an investment. And investors, they want to get a share of the business once they want, even though they're willing to put down more in the beginning. So I have to, when I think about getting investors in, I have to think about what's in it for them to get out of this. Will their
Hmm.
investment be returned? So I actually, rather than trying to go to different angel investors, I try to plan first, see if this can actually get them a return, as if I am the angel investor myself. So,
When it comes to investing, or certainly investors and building up capital, I find that you want to give the investors a wanting desire to invest in you.
mhm,
There's a book that I read
mhm.
a few months ago by Dale Carnegie. It is How to Make Friends and Influence
Oh
People.
yeah, I read
And
that
one
book.
way, brilliant. And one way of getting people on your side and to agree with you is to give them a wanting desire.
Mhm,
Not just persuade them or give them features or
mhm.
facts about the product, give them a wanting desire as to why they would want to invest with you.
Yeah, it's what.
I think I think psychology like that
Mhm.
is invaluable when
Mhm.
it comes to investors.
Yeah, it's also how much friends you can be with them for, and then
Oh yes.
and what kind of purpose can you bring with your product. Yeah.
And I also think that as regard to the creator's dream, it should never be scorned.
Mhm.
Other people will try and dissuade you, but it's persistence of that dream and always working towards it and achieving and building towards it, which will have in the end, an amazing dream.
I would like to say I agree to that, but with 10 years on my own project and web comics and stuff, I have to say if there is no desire from the consumer and the audience market, this dream is only stay as a creator's passion project.
Hmm.
And you really need to overlap with at least the audience.
Yes, I understand. Otherwise, there is no market or demand for it, and
Hmm.
thus profitability.
Yeah,
Profitability.
yeah.
So, what is the next thing for you, Christine? Is it to finish off this game, or
We are,
what? Finish it off and then work onto a next game, or
yes,
what's next for you?
actually, we are hoping to finish this game by the end of the year. And with the with the cuts we have done to match the budget, I believe that's quite plausible. But I will keep I will keep updating my backers and the people who invest in us what's going on. And we are already working on some other games ideas, and some are already in development to get the funding next for them.
Hmm. And what is the best way to contact you?
Um, that's my email. Myshing is MAYSHING at gmail.com.
Gmail.com.
Yep.
Okay, beautiful. Well, unfortunately, that's all we have time for, Christine.
Thank
It
you.
was great. It was great talking to you, and nice of you to appear in this episode of Daily Dev Talk.
Thank you for inviting me.
I wish you well in your future endeavours.
Thank
On
you.
Overload, no worries. And Overload Nation, more Daily Dev Talks to come. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Daily Dev Talk with me, Adrian Nantchev. If you are a game developer that wants to get your name and game out there and to share your experiences and stories, or you have feedback or opinions of the show, then contact me at info@gameoverload.co.uk. That's info@gameoverload.co.uk. Stay tuned for tomorrow's episode, more to come.